It's Thursday night. You know what that means. The gang's all here for the first time in a couple of weeks. So what's that, Tyler?
I will say we're not an actual gang. I don't want to get caught up on racketeering charges. So we're just a group of four pals.
They might use the transcripts of this very podcast to keep us from bail. Free Gunna. Free
Okay, I
Young
was
Thug.
referencing something, wasn't I? I thought I
Yeah.
meant to reference something that I know nothing about. But
Yeah. Well, welcome to Pals Pulls. What's up, Trap Zord? Say hello as you join in here live. Let's introduce the pals. Traveling Tyler.
yeah, I'll be back in the New York City metropolitan area permanently starting Saturday. So I'm leaving the Great White Tundra. So get to deal with some New York City heat, which, as I say those words, not exciting. It's just like a smelly heat. You know what I mean? Like it's like a 2 showers a day sort of thing.
Stay away from the region around Yankee Stadium. That's all I'll say.
Ooh.
Okay.
I was there the other night. It gets weird over there.
You go to a game or you were just over there?
I was at a game, yeah.
Okay.
Kale's here.
Yo, let's go.
Oh, look at that
Wow.
enthusiasm.
And Marco's here, but he has no intro now.
That's it. It's been stolen. My
Got
thunder.
robbed.
Can you steal
Yeah.
Kale's?
Can I what?
Steal Kale's intro.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, but you stole his energy, that's for sure.
I'm gonna say mine's a fucking Squidward ass.
Oh.
It's more of a groan.
Oh. Unreal. We've got 4 pals and 4 books to review this week. Swamp Thing, number 13.
Throwing up the
16.
DDP diamond cutter on that one.
Yup. Self high five. Let's throw it up right now. One time for the one time.
You think he does yoga? You think Levi does DDP yoga?
Yes.
He's got it.
Of course.
He's got it. Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man, number 2.
Oh, nice cover.
Not
That's
the
a nice
movie.
cover.
Yes. Thank you. I thought this was a nice cover.
That was a better.
I like the
definitely
eyes
better
on
cover.
Spider-Man on that one.
Yeah,
Sorry,
right. They're nice
podcast
and
listeners. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's a Spider-Man versus Tombstone cover, drawn by let's see who it was drawn by.
Is that not? It's not Nakayama, is it?
There were 3 variant cover artists, so I'm not sure which one did this particular one. Nicoletta Baldari, Derek Chu, and Hyuk Lee. So I'm not sure
that
which. Oh no, this
screams
was
In-hyuk Lee.
Lee. This was
Yeah,
Lee.
that screams
Yep.
Hyuk Lee to me. Yep.
Good stuff.
We've got Devil's Reign Omega
Omega.
and Legion of X number 1, Legion of 10, Legion of whatever.
Of course, you picked the Destiny cover.
Of course, I picked the Destiny.
If a woman's wearing gloves, you're buying it.
You're right. That's my gimmick.
Damn right.
If you guys want to support the gimmick, there are plenty of ways that you can do that. Patreon.com/thecomicspals. For as little as $3 a month, you can support the show. We've got a lot of cool stuff up there. Marco's Muck Hole episode number 2 dropped this past Wednesday. We'll talk more about that on Saturday.
Part 1. So stay tuned.
Part 1
Interesting.
of issue 2.
Yes, part 1 of issue 2. It's
That was
you
issue
get-
0.
Yeah, you got to get the introductory, like reset, and then you start in the small arc introduction.
He's fucking taking cues from the big 2. He's 2 issues in. He's already reset himself.
Unreal. So yeah, you can check that out at patreon.com/thecomicspals. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed. YouTube.com/thecomicspals. Subscribe for free, like the video, share it with your friends. All that stuff's free to do, and it helps us out a lot more than it costs you. Indeed. We do have an announcement to make about the book clubs. So over on Patreon, we actually had a vote going on. And it was to see what the next book club would be. We talked to you guys about the fact that going forward, we'd be doing that. We'd be giving the patrons, a certain amount of options, and they would choose between them. This time, it was The Boys for the alignment with the show that's coming back in June. It was Kaiju Max Season 1, Swamp Thing, books 3 and 4.
Yep.
Uncanny Avengers, and the Flintstones. And the majority rules is what, of course, that's how votes go. Uncanny Avengers is the winner.
That's not how Electoral College works, but yeah. Uncanny Avengers.
Yeah, what did they
wins that
say?
one.
I feel like they said Swamp Thing won. So
Well, no, Sean is the Electoral College. I don't know if you.
And his book won.
Yeah.
interesting.
Interesting.
Maybe some collusion. If you guys want to instigate an investigation, I'll submit
unplugged-
to that. But
I unplugged my soundboard. It would be great here. Damn.
you don't have enough time. We're recording next week. If you can get an investigation done between then and now, feel free. But otherwise, we're reading Uncanny Avengers.
I can't even change my underwear.
We'll be putting a few more votes up there here really soon, so stay tuned for that. But let's jump into the books. We've got Swamp Thing up first.
Saving the best for first.
I feel like you could have worded that better, but okay.
The Jay-Z
So-
thing he's doing.
Sorry?
I'm really invested in Swamp Thing's hands here. They just look so human that it's really drawing me into this cover. I really like this cover.
It's a good cover. I was tempted not to get it, but I went with it. I went with this one.
What other cover was there?
There was one with him like smashing up some gears. It looked kind of cool to me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about the book. Of course, this is by Mike and Mike on the art front. Mike Perkins and Mike Spicer. Ram V, of course, writer. Aditya Bidikar did the letters. So we're neck deep in the season 2 storyline, which is really about so far this new parliament, the Parliament of Gears, that is rising up and really establishing the threat that this represents to the green and to the world and all that good stuff. With only a couple only 3 issues to go, I don't know. I'm not really fully invested.
Yeah, I felt that exactly. I was seeing where we're at and realizing sort of what happens here, where Levi loses, I guess, the avatar, and now we have to figure out this war situation, and there's a lot here that all of a sudden feels really cramped.
Yeah.
And because of that, I'm like, I don't know if I'm feeling this now. This is kind of getting a little farther away from where this series had been. The introduction of Tefe feels empty now. Like I felt like there'd be more with her, but she just kind of came in, cameoed, and left. I don't know I don't know that I'm feeling as hot as I was on this series as when we first started the season 2.
I feel like a lot went into rescuing him or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it was more than it should have been. Like if we're going into this big war or whatever, is he really gonna resolve this in 3 issues?
I mean, did he even really resolve stuff at the end of season 1? Like we got right into season 2. I felt like there was a pacing thing with season 1 too towards the tail end of it.
Yeah, especially post the Suicide Squad stuff.
Yeah, like the whole stuff with his brother towards the end, I felt like was just like, oh, it's bam, 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 here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think the pacing here it was my issue as well. Like I thought we were going to get really into that whole Detroit thing. Like the whole previous issue set it up as like, oh, this is the arc. And then it's like, no, there's a monster. And then Jack Hawksmoor gives the old foot fetish kick to it, or then we're done.
Mike's into some stuff. I'll say that.
It's like the anti-Liefeld or whatever. But yeah, I just thought it was like, it built up this whole new world and then it just becomes more of a appetizer for the story down the line. And then you still have this Trinity thing going on in the background where that took up a couple pages here. And then fucking hell, Jordan shows up. And now we have space plants coming too. It was like the first half of this issue felt like decompressed storyline where it's like it's slowed down. It's him, dealing with like the Parliament and stuff, and then it just goes straight into compressed. Like this book was all over the place. Not to say I didn't like it. I like everything that's
Right.
in here, but the pacing was like whoa. I was kind of all over the place. Was this a longer issue too? It felt extra long for me.
I don't think it was extra long, but it felt extra long. Yes.
I've heard that before.
You have? Don't make shit up on this podcast, Tyler.
That's all I got now, Sean. That's all I got.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I complained about the pacing at the end of season 1 and season 2. I really have never even like jumped on board. I don't feel it's still good for sure, but I just don't know if I really care about this Parliament of Gears thing. It's not like, I get it for sure, but it's just until something happens, it's all conceptual. It's all like, yeah, guys, this is really bad. Like, don't forget, it's bad. You know, like gears, machines, ideas, bad. All of that's bad. And even that premise, I'm like, is it really bad? Like, let's take a step back, okay? And let's understand something. You know, human invention, industry, machines, it's led to a lot of advancement, right? It's not objectively bad. I think there are ways in which it's certainly bad, but that is due to the failure of human beings to properly employ the things that we have. Technology is not inherently bad. And I'm not so sure that it's that far away from what we have seen the Green responsible for in certain comics. So I was a little bit lost as to why I'm supposed to believe that this is all the way bad, but the Green is good.
I was viewing it as a new Parliament just existing and forming is just breaks the balance of the world. And that's why it was bad. You know, Marco, there is like a set balance to all this, right? Technically.
Not
No?
really.
No. I'm going off of what I remember from like the Soul run.
The soul stuff, like that's a sort of a way to do it, but there's always an introduction because that ultimately culminates into them replacing the rot with the machines because they could essentially do the same thing. But other than that, there's no real necessity either way. It for me, it was I want them to do something with this Parliament more so than, to your point, Sean, just treat it as the bad guy and destroy it because it feels like that's what they did. It was it was 2 issues of setup of it being the big bad, and then nothing came out of it. It just seems like they squashed this one monster that came up, and now it looks like this is going to be put on the back burner or it's already been dealt with, and that's kind of disappointing because I would have liked to have seen more what Rom had in store for this new idea, this Parliament of Gears, to be able to just give us something a bit more interesting than alien invasion.
Honestly, though, in terms of Swamp Thing, an alien invasion does sound interesting to me because it's like not what I expect from Swamp Thing. Has that happened? I have to defer to you. Okay.
He's been to space before, yeah.
I know he's been to space, but like I don't know, has he ever defended the world from alien spores? Spores?
It happens pretty early in Alan Moore's run, doesn't it?
No, it's
Blind
like
spot for me.
towards
I can't say.
the back end, like volumes 5, 6.
No, I'm sure there's there's at least an alien that shows up in the first volume, maybe second.
Are you thinking of Pog?
No, I'm thinking of aliens.
They got Swamp Thing pogs? I could match my Alf one.
There's a pogo thing with aliens, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care, honestly. Like, I really don't. Like, all respect to all creators. This is a good book, but, you know, we need more heat here, for sure. Right now, it's all theoretical, and that's not getting it done for me. I need something concrete.
It feels like all set up for an unknown future.
Yeah.
Where I feel like where season 1 was like, oh, we know we have one season. Let's tell a story. And towards the end, it was like, well, we're probably getting season 2. We can probably seed some things, pun intended. Whereas season 2, it's just like, here we're gonna seed all the things now, but where's the actual story?
To what end? Is there a
between
season
there, I
3?
guess.
Like,
Who knows?
are we doing
Yeah.
more? Because if we're doing more, like if you took away the 13 of 16, right, and you said to me, this is an ongoing with an undetermined amount of issues coming, then I don't care as much.
Feel different.
You know, like it's like, okay, hey, not every issue is going to knock me out of the park, and there's something that's going to come of this for sure. Even if it's 10 issues down the road, I don't care. I trust this creative team. But if it's ending at 16, I got a big problem with that. Like, do I like the fact that Hal Jordan is randomly here? Yeah, sure. Trinity, that was good stuff. Like, that part of the book was pretty cool. She unintentionally killed a guy because she's got radiation.
There's a lesson. Don't simp. That's the lesson. No simping allowed. You get
Preach that.
radiation poisoning from it. So
Jacob, Levi's brother, like being the new Avatar or whatever's going on with that, all down. Like, nothing here is bad, right? And we're never going to get on this podcast and say, wow, that issue sucked. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to happen. These creators are too talented. But to say like, hey, it's been a slow burn since season 2 started. Yeah, it hasn't been magic to me in the same way that it was season 1. And that's fine. It could still land on its feet and be every bit as good ultimately. But right now, I need more fire. That's where I'm at. I would say, yes, pull it. It still looks great. Art's great. You know, everything is, everything's really good. But story-wise, I'm not on board as much as I want to be.
I'm going to say pass, honestly. I would say this is a trade for me. Like I like reading it week to week or month to month because we're doing that, because that's what we're doing. But as somebody who's doing that, if I can recommend that to somebody who doesn't have a podcast, I'd trade with it.
Fair enough.
Fair, man. This is one of those situations where it's the character, and I'm gonna buy it because I'm a simp for Swamp Thing.
Okay,
simp
I'll
for that.
allow that simpage.
So this is a pull for me only because of that at this point.
I probably wouldn't be reading this if we were doing it on the show, so it's a trade weight for me. And I don't mean that in that it's bad, in that like Ron V and Mike Perkins have proven themselves. I want it. So it's a trade weight for me.
Sean, you want to read that? The Twitch comment?
Oh my God. All right. We have a highlighted comment from one Matt Murphy who says, I'll up my Patreon pledge to stop these reviews.
All right, fucker. Put your money where your mouth
Swamp
is.
Thing hater.
Sounds great.
Matt, have you ever enjoyed a Swamp Thing run? Like, as you were reading month to month, you weren't reading comics and Alan Moore's, and you probably weren't even fucking alive. That tracks. Yeah.
Okay, we're not. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's get to the good stuff. Oh, this is
so
Spider-Man,
we got Amazing Spider-Man #2 by Zeb Wells, art by John Romita Jr. and Scott Hanna on the inks, colors by Marcio Menes. It's still Spider-Man versus Tombstone. Tombstone's upping his game now. He realizes that stuff's real. Stuff's gotten real. He has to take the caps off. He has to take the caps off his teeth, let the choppers run free, and get it popping. New York is in danger now.
That's what he was doing. Oh, okay. I had trouble
I didn't
getting
get it
that
either.
That makes a lot of sense now. Yeah. I thought he was broke and he was going to sell his teeth.
Yes,
I
I was confused.
was like, man, you don't have an extra stash somewhere? That's what I was worried about.
I really enjoyed this issue, guys. I have to say.
I did not.
I know.
I have it must be, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the time I spent away. The Romita Jr. magic has gone.
Bro, it was never there.
In 1 month?
The Norman Osborn's face has like a rubbery quality to it that I went back to look, and Aunt May's got it too. And I was like, this is the worst.
It's weird.
Wait, Sean, which cover do you have of this?
Oh,
yeah, not the.
Okay.
The actual cover. You picked it.
The JR Magic starts fumbling at the cover, dude.
It's on the stream, Marco.
if you look at the there it is. If you look at the neck, why is his neck bigger than my dude's thigh?
I mean, I got 2 chins that are probably bigger than my thigh, but I got that
This
JR body right now.
This anatomy is off, dude.
I got a big old head too.
There was something about this this issue that just nothing looked as good as the last issue did.
It's number 1. You had to up your game for the number 1.
And that could be, yeah.
Now the deadlines are coming, you know.
All right.
Hold on, we got a new one.
Highlighted comment from Matt Murphy again. Marco, it's called being a twink. All right.
Really change that. I gotta change that. The settings on
price.
that. I gotta make that a little more expensive. So
yeah, go ahead.
for me, I will say that John Romita Jr.'s art, I can't say it's good, but it is charming to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Nope.
Like, I still have fun with it. Like, even when Norman's grandsons show up and they got the biggest ass heads.
Damn, they're
in
such weird
existence.
sizes.
Yo, they had big head mode on like it was NBA Street Volume 2. Like, it was bad. It was real bad. But I still liked it. I still like the art. I think the story, my issue here is story. Like, the amount of times where it's like, you get the editor's note that's like, oh, when did that happen? Wink, wink. You know, like,
Yeah.
it stopped being cute after the first issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't like being kept in the dark. The stuff that is actually in the present day with Tombstone and stuff, I'm enjoying that. I like that. The allusions to, like, why are Norman and Peter on such good terms right now, you know? Yeah, I want answers there. And I'm also like, I feel like I'm used to Amazing Spider-Man being like a weekly book, that this is almost going too slow for me, if that makes sense.
All that is also weird too, because those are the only allusions we got to the 6 months previous, right? The editor's notes and the Osborn interaction.
And then I guess the first page of issue 1 as well.
Yeah, the stuff from the previous issue for sure.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's like if you picked this up and read it, you wouldn't even know.
No. Yep.
So as I guess the sole person on the podcast who, really got a kick out of this one.
No, I liked it.
It feels like, like low to the ground, old school Spider-Man stuff. Like, I really love some of the like gang warfare stuff that would happen in, Spider-Man comics from 40 years ago, 50 years ago. I thought a lot of that was really fun. And I enjoy Tombstone's inclusion. It feels old school to me. And they have a really good fight here, I thought. Like, I got a kick out of the fight between Spider-Man and Tombstone. And Tombstone's strategy, it takes me right back. Like, this dude doesn't need to breathe. So he can fight you in any environment, and you can't. And I've always thought that was so cool, because that's his only, like, because Spider-Man fights people who are stronger than him all the time. But this is a wrinkle for this character that makes him a different kind of villain. And I think Zeb Wells uses that really well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, that's why he chooses to submerge them both in water, because he can do whatever he needs to do to Spider-Man, and Spider-Man can't deal with it.
My reading comprehension must have been shit this issue. I thought they were just in the back of a truck with hydraulics and closed on them.
I thought that isn't there water coming in?
The walls are closing in.
Oh, the walls are closing in. Well,
it
even
was. Okay,
still,
yeah.
he doesn't need to breathe. Spider-Man
I guess
does.
if it's hydraulic, yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
Well-
Crime Master just got catching strays here then.
Yeah, I think the idea is that Spider-Man is getting crushed. and
Yeah.
Tombstone is on the outside of it, and eventually Spider-Man's leverage disappears, and that's how Tombstone gets him.
Yeah, he gets too close and starts to just
It's close
suffocate him.
quarters at that point, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really cool fight. I love Tombstone's physicality. I'll show these pages off. They're the pages from the fight where Spider-Man's kind of like losing consciousness and getting literally crushed by Tombstone as he just squeezes him.
That one where his hands start to kind of come in. That's a visceral panel.
The panel work there is great too to portray that like claustrophobic thing. It's like bigger panels, and they get smaller, and then the black bars on the side start coming in, and it's a nice play with that.
Yeah. I'm just feeling this book. Like everything that you guys said is correct, and I think John Romita Jr. at this point is who he is, and like there's just it is what it is. But I think that it's colored really well. I'm enjoying getting a deeper dive into the Tombstone character. That's been fun. I'm hooked. I don't know that I'm always going to feel that way, but I'm hooked.
I think it's definitely a change of pace that I haven't felt for Spider-Man in a while. So I'm interested. I'm still going to keep reading it. Like I'm in for it. I don't know if I can say hooked just yet, but I'm definitely intrigued enough to want to keep going ahead with that.
I think it'll have to do quite a bit to get me hooked still. But I'm still in. I've got 1 foot out the door.
My feet been out the door.
I'm at the point where I don't even really care what happened in the intervening 6 months. It's not even an intriguing mystery to me. Like I'm very into the now.
I don't think it's an intriguing mystery either. I'm just annoyed that I don't know. Like, do I want to know?
Yeah.
Yes. Is it because the story makes me want to know? No. Because
I
felt
felt
like something's withheld from me.
Especially with the end of Beyond being what it was, like that was way more interesting than whatever this is gonna be.
And it's also what the free comic book day issue for Spider-Man and the Venom was about. I guess, do you guys know what happens to that? Can I spoil that?
No.
Sure. Chasm shows up, Ben Reilly, and this is by JR. And it's Madeline Pryor and him teaming up.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So it's like evil clones teaming up
Clone
together.
Zone.
Yeah. Clone Zone. I like it.
The Dark Web is the incoming Spider-Man Venom crossover event that's going to feature those two teaming up. So
It's weird because Venom's in a really weird place right now. I would say pull as well. Not this cover, though.
Definitely
I'm going to say pass.
Let's go pass.
All right. So up next we have Devil's Reign Omega. So obviously Devil's Reign is over, I guess, with this issue. Gotta love it when, hey, it's not ending in issue 8. It's ending in a random Omega issue that comes out like a month or two later.
We couldn't get 5 more pages in the main book to wrap this up.
So there's 3 stories here. The first one is Fall and Rise by Chip Zdarsky, with art by Rafael De La Torre and Federico Blee on colors, lettered by Clayton Cowles. I think the first 2 are lettered by him. It might all be, frankly. Mayor for Hire is the second story by Rodney Barnes, with art by Guillermo Sana and colors by Dijo Lima. And then the last story is Cleaning House by Jim Zub, with art by Luciano Vecchio, colors by Carlos Lopez, and Java Tartaglia, letters by Joe Sabino. So let's start with the first story. This is, the heroes of New York and whoever else attending the funeral of Matt Murdock. This is the longest story, and it kind of, wraps up the leftovers from Devil's Reign as it pertains directly to those, most immediate characters to the story. I enjoyed it. There's a big secret in New York. They think Matt Murdock died, but it was actually his brother. Really smart storytelling on the part of Chip Zdarsky, putting Daredevil in a weird position, and it's like Shadowland adjacent. They even reference that here. In the sense that he's kind of on the outs with some of his best buds. The defenders, the Bendis defenders aren't they're not fond of what Matt's doing right now. and he's kind of blindly going after the hand.
Ha.
It's weird that they kind of don't care too much to go for the hand right now. You would think they're an ever-present threat. I'm not sure why that bothers them.
I wasn't reading it as them not being approving of it. I think they were just more worried about Matt in his mental state. Because even like Luke Cage is like, you know what, you're kind of right. Maybe we should expand our reach. You know, I can do that now as mayor. But just be careful. I was reading it as like, a little worried about you, but yeah, the hand's kind of fucked up. Get rid of him. That's how I was reading it.
Well, Iron Fist literally says, "Oh, for the hand, seriously? What are you even doing, man? Is it ninja time again?"
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Like,
that
he's-
is like, why bother? What are you doing with your time and effort here?
Yeah.
Danny Rand can't talk. I'm sorry. The guy ain't even Iron Fist anymore. Like,
Yeah, he's just a dude now, right?
he's just
He still has powers.
Does he have the powers? I don't think he does.
He just has the skill. I don't think he
Yeah,
has
he
the
can
powers.
just
anymore.
fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the fist is gone.
I mean, I don't think he's just a dude still, though.
He's just a ninja dude. He's doing ninja stuff. So what is he to speak?
All right.
Yeah, so I mean, it's an intriguing angle at any rate. And then it looks like Luke Cage and Jessica Jones are going to be adding an adopted child into the mix.
Like
Looks
that.
like they're going to adopt one of Purple Man's, the only one of Purple Man's children who still has powers into the fold.
That seems like a cool premise. I don't know how they're
Yeah.
going to continue that or how present they've been in the Daredevil book, but it would be for a cool story to like raise him as the son of a villain and one that is probably, you know, so close to Jessica Jones. It makes for a good tension and definitely an interesting dilemma.
Yeah, I'm into that for sure. And this is where like them having their own series would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The fact that Marvel
Yeah.
has still yet to announce a Luke Cage book or a Luke and Jessica book is I don't get it at all.
This
Remember the
book
one-
is a Luke Cage book. Daredevils, plural, show up for like 3 panels and the cover. Like they're very barely like this is a 80% Luke Cage book. It's
There's
for
no
like
excuse.
for a book that doesn't exist yet. It feels like a prequel to a Luke Cage ongoing that has not been announced. We will probably not see if Man on Fire or City on Fire or whatever it was before that never happened. So
All 3
I know.
stories are Luke Cage stories.
yeah,
In this- in
it's
this
confusing, this book, to me, honestly.
Yeah, I don't understand. He's the main character of New York City right now for Marvel, and he doesn't have a comic book. Like,
He's not even on
what
the cover.
the fuck is going on? Not being on the cover, I get it. I can understand that, but like, why doesn't he have a main title?
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. Yet, variants coming out with Jessica Jones, but that seems to be completely separate from all of this, you know? It's weird. Because they've literally set him up in probably his most high-profile position in the Marvel Universe since
Ever.
New Avengers. I would say even more than New Avengers.
Yeah.
And it's a really interesting premise, too. Like, the mayor of New York City is a superhero.
Is a black superhero.
Yeah. But where are we going to see that? I don't know.
A formerly incarcerated person
You
is,
know what
is the mayor of New York. Well,
might see
Kingpin's
that.
formerly incarcerated too, but he stole the election. So
we might see it in the background of Thunderbolts led by White Archer.
that's the impression that I got.
Yeah.
And I'm not here for that. I'm really not. Luke Cage needs his own book. Marvel needs to step up and give it out. And I think look, I would love it if Chip Zdarsky wrote that damn book. I don't care if he's white. He's got the hot hand. He's running New York as far as like telling stories in, with the street level stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Chip Zdarsky is a name that will bring people to the book. That's all you have to do. If you put the Luke Cage book in the hands of a writer, I don't care what skin color they are, who people are not buying comic books to see, it's not going to sell. And then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you let a writer who people are paying to read the book of do this book, people will buy it. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
What if Eric Adams wrote it, Sean?
Just serving.
Fuck that.
Think of how authentic it'll be.
If who wrote it? Eric Adams?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, they got the Nornstones in this. You know, that's a magical stone. Eric Adams is on record as saying that the spirit of New York City is because of its being built on top of magic crystals.
Right.
Love that.
Amazing. Wait, so what is this thing? I was gonna ask. What is this sparkly rock?
That's the Nornstone. So that dude's come back to life. Like in a
Oh, I
month.
figured. Okay.
Yeah. Evil brother now, right? That's just how things go.
Wasn't he evil anyway?
He was more of a trickster. He was like a doofus brother, really.
Bumbling.
So yeah, the first story here is, it's good stuff, and it neatly wraps up everything that, Devil's Reign was, and it's a clean slate, cleanish, I guess, for the next phase of Daredevil comics. Obviously, they're setting up Daredevil versus the Punisher. That should be an uproariously good time for all. I enjoyed this story.
Are you interested in Thunderbolts at all? I mean, because part of this was that Thunderbolts issue sort of story in here with that.
Oh, yeah, I was going to move on to the next story.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah.
So Cleaning House is the next story. And this is where Luke kind of, makes the play for Monica to be the leader of a new Thunderbolts team. Mm-hmm. For those of you who don't know, Luke Cage used to, front the Thunderbolts. It's been a while, but I mean, that was a long time ago, but I'm glad they referenced that.
Yeah.
Jim Zub, what was his quote? I wish I remembered his quote.
You've said it multiple times during the episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But Jim Zub, of course, digging deep into the roots of the Thunderbolts to try and establish a new team. Monica's not having it. But we know she's going to be on the team, right? Like, I feel like we saw that.
Yeah, she's on the cover, so.
Yeah, so this is whatever. Am I interested, though? Yes. I think that the book is going to be as much about the politics of their role as it is the superheroics of it. And I'm intrigued by that. Way more so if Monica Rambeau's the leader. But I think that we're probably due for, like, her to clash with Hawkeye.
This didn't entice me. I had fun with it. It was a cool moment, but I like the PR angle of it. That was actually kind of fun and like a little wacky. I'm not familiar with the Thunderbolts, so I'm hoping that is an angle that they actively explore, because that would be the part to draw me in.
It's been done in the past, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. That to me,
ecstatics, sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, it's part of their whole thing is pretending to be the good guys and getting that publicity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, that was a big part of the Norman Osborn's tenure with the Thunderbolts.
Yeah. For me, it was. I like the premise a lot. I mean, that Luke Cage, Jeff Parker Thunderbolts run is one of my favorites of all time. It's got the most ragtag group of characters in it. And Luke Cage has like starring role in that book. But for me, this art was too cute.
Yep.
a little.
I don't dislike the art. I just don't know if it fits the story. Like it's the same art I would see in, like, I don't know, a Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur book. In fact, I think they've worked on that book before. But it just felt a little weird for a book about the politics of being a superhero and race, and it was just a little strange for me. It was mismatched, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would enjoy this art a lot in another context.
Champions.
For sure. Yeah, something like that. And it's good art. I really enjoy like when Luke is getting shot at by crossbones and the pings and some of the sound effects there as the bullets just bounce off his body, which will never not be a cool visual. And even, when Murdock is flying around and, dodging lasers and all that stuff, all really cool. So you can rest assured that Thunderbolts will be a good looking book. Whether or not it will, translate into me enjoying the comic, that's a different matter. You asked me if I'm excited about it, Tyler, or if I'm intrigued by it. Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. It's an issue 1 buy for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the last story was pretty much just like a newsy recap of like, Luke and what's been going on and stuff like that. And just kind of seeing him, accepting his new role, giving a speech, blah, blah, blah. It's fine.
Yeah, the art was a little rough in this one.
I didn't love it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely some weird faces, some weird body shapes and sizes. It would be a cool style, but I think there needs to be some tightening of the line work and stuff.
Yeah. Rodney Barnes is a name we've been seeing a little bit more, which I'm glad for. But this just wasn't a great showcase, I don't think. It's fine. It feels like a tack on, and I'm never too mad about those. Like, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Overall, I would say pull if you pulled Devil's Reign and you're curious about, even if you didn't, if you're curious about where the city side of Marvel's going, this is the best book for that, to give us that direction. But it's a shame that not all of the stuff that's situated here will be immediately followed up in a book that we know about right now. I'm specifically referring to the Luke Jessica angle.
I would say for me, it's
go for it.
I was gonna say for me, it's a pass. This feels like free comic book day Daredevil.
Yeah,
I almost want to say like separate it from Devil's Reign. Devil's Reign issue 6 that ends it. Great event, probably one of the best events in recent memory from Marvel. Cut it off there. This just feels so disjointed from it. It feels almost mandated to come out, and even like the cover. It's not even a shadow cover. Like,
yeah,
it just feels like it wasn't my bag, which is a shame too, because I like the pieces in it. It's just the actual combination of everything. Yeah, it was that for me.
Fair enough.
Yeah, same. Pass, just because I felt like the story's been wrapped already. This is
true.
These are teases that I think could very well have been in the first issue of whatever the next series is going to be, and that's fine. If I'm not missing anything by not reading this, and I don't think that anybody who doesn't pick it up will either. I'm sure you can go straight into the number 1 of each respective book, and you'll be able to pick up what's going on here.
Before we move on, we do have a highlighted comment. One Matt Murphy says, "You thought you could stop me with the amount."
I made it 15 times more expensive.
But Matt is a loyalist. He's been around since literally day one. So there's no amount you could set it to that he won't.
I'm pretty sure I can make it 100,000. That'll stop him. But
do you think Jessica Jones and Luke Cage overshadow each other in their own respective books, and that's why they don't sell? I feel like if they're willing, not that I'm equating these two relationships, but if they're willing to make like a Gambit and Rogue book, for example.
That's exactly what I was going to mention.
Right. Why can't there be a Luke and Jessica book? They don't always have the exact same problems. They've got different things going on, but they're parents together. That would be a very interesting thing to follow, protecting their children. Luke is the mayor. Jessica Jones, hopefully being a private investigator, got to pay the bills. It's ripe with story that's like that anyone could see. So they don't need separate books. This Jessica Jones variant crap, not crap. Like, it's cool. I'm into it. I'm going to buy it. Gail Simone's great. But to me, that's a way secondary idea from the idea that's like in your face with Jessica Jones.
And even like the new Avenger stuff, when they both showed up together, it was great. Like they worked together. in storyline, and it's crazy that we've not had a book that was them two as the starring characters.
Yeah.
Even like Power Man and Iron Fist, fantastic book.
Yeah.
She was in it in the background as a side character, but like not a title character. It's just mind-boggling.
It's unfortunate.
It's weird too because I also feel like they're two characters that, you know, in their at least seminal runs to a certain degree are also very gritty to a certain extent. You know, obviously Jessica Jones as Alias, you know, and that was pretty in your face and noiry, and even the Luke Cage Heroes for Hire stuff, you know, with Iron Fist, you know, that was kung fu shenanigans. You know, it's not like there's not meat on the bone.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's more than enough to serve at least a mini. They're hot on minis. Like, come on. It's worth pointing out. Go ahead.
I was going to say they could do a season. The mystery of what a season is in comics.
Right. It's worth pointing out that Thunderbolts will have a different artist. Sean Isaacs is doing the art there. So we will have
very clean artist. It's very good. Yeah.
Let's speak about Legion of X. So this is, you know, a spiritual follow-up, I would say, to, you know, Way of X and some of that stuff. Excuse me. Cy Spurrier is the writer here. Jan Bazaldua did the art. Federico Blee on colors. Clayton Cowles did the letters. Oh man, look, these Kieran Gillen books. They're, I'm sorry, Cy Spurrier books. They're not for me.
They're wacky.
This is my pick of the week.
No,
my pick of the week was Devil's Reign. I just can't.
I fucking think this was my pick of the week just because nothing else, man. Like,
yeah,
it had a cool eyeball.
Yeah, visually the book was cool. There was stuff. I think the colors were great. Some of the like character designs, like you mentioned, the eyeball and stuff. Nightcrawler's got a mustache now, but I just can't do this. Like, there's so
not again, please, not again.
There's so much words, and none of them matter.
Yeah.
And like, there's 50 storylines going on, and none of them matter. And I'm really struggling with what the point is of following Nightcrawler's adventures in Krakoa ever. Like, I don't care. And I get that Nightcrawler is a fan favorite. I love Nightcrawler, but this is not the way.
Good pun.
I'm
way
almost on the exact opposite of you.
I'm glad.
I had really a lot of fun with this. I thought this was this feels like the weird book. It's like the black sheep of the X-Men line, which is usually the book that I like when it comes to a line. It is strangely Nightcrawler being the chief of the X-Men police, which they try to give you that premise by calling them police, but then walking back like, well, we're not really police, you know.
Yeah.
Which I was like, all right, you know, you want to do the procedural crime drama or dramedy in this, without the political tension of what you're doing. But I did enjoy it. I like the idea of like these different teams. Like, it was Pixie and was it Dr. Nemesis and Lost. Pixie and Lost were together. Mm-hmm. And then Juggernaut's on here for some reason, and he's not even a mutant, which I'm fine with. There was apparently a vote on it or whatever. I mean, yeah, it kind of breaks the rules of Krakoa, but whatever. I like Juggernaut. So, and that his partner, what's the guy?
Forget Me Not.
Who?
Yeah. Forget Me Not.
Yeah. That bit that came out throughout the whole book is what I liked. I thought that was so stupid. I thought it was hilarious because that's
That
like
was
a Gillen era, I think. What was the island called, Sean, during Gillen's era?
Oh, geez. I don't
Utopia.
remember.
Utopia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Utopia.
he kind of popped up there. It's this guy whose power is that people don't notice him and they always forget who he is. And like that as a guy who investigates things and his partner is the Juggernaut, it's stupid and I like it. The things I like least about this are the Legion stuff, even though it's Legion of 10, Legion of X. I think Legion gets a little too big for his britches whenever he's in a story.
What? Legion?
I know. Although that FX show, that's a sleeper hit. That show was
so
fucking
good.
amazing. It was so good, dude. But having him, it's just like it gets a little too out there when they get into like the astral mindscape plane that they can't
altar.
really explain properly. I thought it was fun. Matt says, Tyler, elaborate on why you enjoy overwritten X-Men but not Spawn. Bring back Spawn reviews. Oh, what the fuck? I don't have an answer for that. I don't.
Not a good one. Not when he can
These
stand
characters, I can at least differentiate the character designs. There we go.
Fucking how?
He's not the artist.
Fair point.
It's fine, yeah.
I'm somewhere in between Tyler and Sean. I didn't love this. I'm interested by the different characters and the different concepts. This what is it? What was her name? Zen, the artist lady with the weaponless.
Yeah.
It was cool. Like there's seemingly going to be some sort of relationship between her and Nightcrawler. I think Legion. I like him as a character, and the way he sits at the altar of the altar, I guess, is interesting because of where it exists in this sort of metaphysical space inside of his mind, which is an interesting concept. But I don't think that Sai knows what he wants to do with these things yet, and so he has set them up. That's why he goes back on like, oh, are you guys police? Well, actually, no, not really. It's like, well, are you guys like working on the laws of Krakoa? Well, actually, we've added these like addendums to it. Are you guys doing? It feels like he's not stepping fully into what he's saying he wants to in these things, and giving himself room to kind of just deviate from the otherwise tenets that were established by Hickman here, and he's kind of like trying to wiggle his way out of that to do his own thing. And I think it could work, but I don't know that he has it as tight as it can be for us to really follow along on some of these concepts. Like the whole god battle on Araco, I didn't get what the whole purpose of that was for, why the trial by combat is there, the Great Ring of Araco, that data page just didn't make sense. But then there were generally good moments where they're talking to Spike and they're traveling through the different gates, and that stuff's interesting. But I don't know that it's all cohesive quite yet.
I'm also not sure that I need multiple books dealing with what's happening on Araco. Like X-Men Red is doing a great job with that. This is just feels like extra.
I feel like it's just an arc, though. Oh, sorry, Cal. Go ahead.
I feel like any one thing in this book in particular would be an interesting story.
Yeah.
Like that God thing. If you follow Nightcrawler in that direction, that was cool. The fucking Skinwalker. Okay, great. That sounds rad. Whatever Legion's got going on, fine. I liked his thing with Xavier. That had some real poignant stuff. I sort of enjoyed that. Less, but I enjoyed it. But none of it breathes, and all of it feels suffocated by words, I guess.
Well, by everything else, it suffocates itself.
I feel like if you cut the worriness out, you might even have more room for these stories to breathe. But quite frankly, I just don't think that they all need to be here. Like there's got to be some governor on how many things you can just throw at the wall. And I feel like this era of Krakoa is very much that. Just like, what the hell can we do now? And it's that, to me, that without like careful thought and planning, I'm not compelled by it. Really not at all. I want to talk about the 3 laws of Krakoa real quick, because Cy Spurrier chooses to amend them, as was pointed out. And I really didn't need that. Like, it's just like, come on, man. The Make More Mutants thing, like, internet people have made such a big deal about that.
Really?
Yeah. And it's just like, yo, at some point, you just have to stop getting angry about everything and trying to make everything foolproof. It was obvious that it was never meant, like in the book, it says, we cannot and must not enforce a doctrine of compulsory reproduction. Who the fuck suggested that? No one suggested that. You don't need to make that point, because the point is made if you use your brain.
Excuse me, Nightcrawler, did you have your compulsory fuck today?
Yeah, like they're not slaves.
Doesn't sound that bad.
Yeah, like I feel like it was dealt with so elegantly in Teenie Howard, I believe it was Teenie Howard's book, Excalibur, where they were Gambit and Rogue. They were used as the example of like, well, they're in a relationship. They are now compelled to reproduce. At least it was on their mind. And they made the decision not to do that, and that was fine. I don't think you need to get into the weeds about like, oh, well, are we going to force people? No, you're not doing that. That was never on the table. This is years later. That rule was made, like, in real life, that rule was made years ago, and you're going to amend it to make a non-point? That's the type of shit that I don't want in these comics.
It's also, even in Hickman's X-Men, that issue, was it Vulcan? He invites two, I
on the moon, right?
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you who they were. Yeah. But it was like Hickman was able to sort of turn that, and it was like horny fun.
Right.
That's right.
Right. You you made this amendment, and it's like, okay, not really fun anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I was reading it as like an amendment for guide. I mean, it says it's for the Legionnaires. It's not for, this is not to be distributed across Krakoa. This is just for the quote unquote cops of the story to, I guess, be able to enforce things better if there's more of a framework.
But what the fuck are they enforcing or not enforcing as it relates to that? It's a non-point.
Yeah, I think that first one is definitely a non-point. I agree. I don't think you need to do it, but I guess maybe just because they, I guess, expounded upon the other two, that they needed to do the first one. Like the Kill No Mutant one, like, or Kill No Man one, having addendums, that kind of makes sense to me.
Or
because
woman,
they've been doing it since Hickman's run.
Or woman, or any other, obviously. If it's obvious, why am I wasting my time reading it? Like, come on, you got to give me a break. This is a long-ass comic book, and there's so many words. That did not need to be there.
It's a legion of
Help
words.
me. Help me.
Do you think there is an editorial mandate to need to have a data page in every X-Men book?
I can imagine. I can kind of imagine.
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I haven't read one that didn't have them, but I think the writers they genuinely have fun with them. I don't know.
Some of them seem like this, just like, I need to put one of these in. Okay, all right, I'm not Hickman.
Yeah, sorry. It's just so frustrating sometimes. Like I really want to enjoy these comic books, guys, and it's just hard sometimes. It just is.
You literally sound like me when I read Spawn. I think I've said those exact words before.
But at least with Spawn, like the worst issues, you generally get in and get out. Like,
sure,
you know, if you don't like it, and there's great art. Like the art, to me, I think the art's pretty good most of the time. You don't get bombarded with all these damn words in every single issue. And I love words. Wordy comics are perfectly fine, but I think a part of mastery in writing comic books, especially, is understanding how to tell what you need to say and not belaboring it with words. If they don't mean anything, they don't matter, don't use them.
It's funny because I would say Cy Spurrier's run on Hellblazer is one of my favorite comics of the past 5 years.
Incredible.
And it was wordy too, but everything had a reason for it. And I
Right.
wonder if because of the bloated cast that we have in this book, that's the part that's messing things up for him.
I also think that Constantine is the type of character who
Sure.
wants to be more clever than he is.
Sure.
And that's the way this writing feels to me.
Yeah, like it's trying to be extra heady about situations, but the context of the content isn't actually like won't let you be that kind of heady.
Yeah.
Or even this simple exchange between Nightcrawler and Storm. Your Majesty, I genuflect. I humble myself. I lick the very dirt at your feet. And then Storm interrupts him and says, "Get up, idiot, or I'll shove a royal thunderbolt up your indigo ass." Does that read like Storm to anybody?
He's blue.
Well, indigo is a shade of blue. But no, that didn't read like Storm either. I thought their whole interaction together, it felt right in the sense that they should be very familiar with each other, regardless of whatever their political state is.
Definitely banter.
But Storm did feel a little too mean. You know what I mean? I never. Storm was always a regal person to me.
Yeah. I don't even think,
girl boss now that she's like the region of Araco.
which is not how she's being written in X-Men Red, which is why I would rather you leave that book to do what it is doing, because what it's doing is working. Don't tarnish it by adding, like, even if it tarnish, that's a hard word. Even if it was being used the same way, right? It still hurts what's happening in X-Men Red, because there's a very specific agenda over there that they're probably not communicating all that much about. There are things happening here that feel like they impact very greatly what happens in X-Men Red. And are we going to see those referenced? I don't know. There's no promise of that.
True.
So, anyway, to me, pass. Like,
Even with Juggernaut, wow.
dude, that frustrated me too. I don't get that at all. I think Juggernaut's great. What the hell is he doing in this comic book? It made sense when they offered a make good to Apocalypse, and that was shocking as hell. But he's a mutant. That was the idea. If you're a mutant, you get a pass. It's different. Juggernaut is not a mutant. Why would this ever happen?
He's Xavier's brother, but even Xavier didn't want him. Like,
Yeah.
like if you had told me, like, oh, it's because it's Xavier's pet project, nepotism. Of course, that makes sense in a world. Nepotism makes things run. So,
But that even applies to Legion, because there's this tension between him and his old Papa Xavier there. Like, he doesn't
Charles
want him
hates
there.
family,
so-
man. He is
Yeah,
not
right,
a
he's not-
family dude.
He does not like going to Olive Garden.
No,
Wow.
not at all.
So yeah, for me, it's a pass. What about you guys?
Book of the week. all the shit I talked. Book of
Oh
the
my
week.
god! All
It's,
of
it's Book of the
sorry,
Week. I mean,
I warped the combo.
I would say pull this either way. I had fun with it.
I'd pull it for Psy. Oh boy.
Did I say this was my book of the week too?
You
I
did.
don't
Not
remember.
enthusiastically,
Did I?
but you
Still
did.
passed.
Yeah.
Yo, we gotta pick better books.
This week was a bit of a dearth of things from when I was looking, but next week is even more so.
Well, speaking of, did we or did we not like it, Marco? I tagged you last week
Yeah.
to read Lazarus. So I said, if you can get through 2 issues, that's good enough. What'd you do, and what'd you think?
Read 2 issues. One, Forever Carlisle, interested me very, very much. This actually
What does that
felt
mean?
like it felt like Berserker, in the sense that, like, it's a forever existing thing. I haven't gotten like too much into the history of it, but the fact that she can resurrect and is presumably indestructible is interesting, and they're focusing on her mental state more so than her physical state, because there's a potential for, it feels like there's a potential for her to be unleashed somehow. Yeah, I mean, the book brings you in and hooks you. I think, Tyler, you might have mentioned that this is like kind of a page turner. You find yourself going from one issue to the next issue. I find myself like going through the pages. I'm like, oh shit, that was an issue. Whoa, okay. Jumped into the next one. It was paced really, really well. The art's tight. I had fun with it. I'm definitely going to finish the first volume here.
It's
Nice.
my second favorite Rucka book. So
Behind Gotham Central.
no, behind Rucka and J.H. Williams on Detective Comics.
Oh God, dude.
Batwoman
Rucka-
run is one of my favorite runs of all time.
Batwoman, Gotham Central, Black Magic, which I think is amazing.
That's a blind spot for me. Yeah.
You got to read it. Maybe we'll do a book club. Wonder Woman, I thought that was phenomenal, and then Lazarus. Yeah, like I'm glad you enjoyed it, Marco. It gets deep in on every single thing
Yeah.
that you talked about and every single thing that's
really?
introduced in the first and second issues. It really dives in, and it's fascinating. The fact that there's no, I think Tyler mentioned this last week, maybe the fact that there's no like television show or movie based
wild.
on this
Yeah.
is wild, because this could be the next like HBO like big series if they had legs behind it.
Even like
Been in
the whole idea of
works
like
for a long time, hasn't it?
yeah, I think it was optioned years ago.
Bendis hell.
But like I feel like it has like the whole family dynamic that you got in Game of Thrones that people loved. You know, warring families. It's all throughout this.
Yep.
So, yeah,
The
crazy.
the way they dig into like her mentality is really interesting. It feels like if they're gonna keep digging into it, I can only imagine they're gonna dig into like the trauma of the shit that they put her through. And,
Everything.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Honestly, that sounds like a hook, dude.
Yeah, it's quite good. Who'd you tag?
So I decided to tag Tyler.
Oh, not like I'm busy.
Oh, so what?
If it's a quick thing, I can do it. Yeah.
It is.
You have to face the mic when you.
He's still figuring out what his pick is.
Yeah.
No. I have it. I have it on my bookshelf. Have you read Cave Carson?
Oh, the Gerard Way.
The Gerard Way and what's his face?
And,
Michael Ivan Oming.
I've read the first issue. I never finished it.
Okay. Jump back in.
I read it. I read like at least 3 issues from what I remember.
Damn it.
You're telling me you don't think I would have read a Gerard Way book,
I don't know. You like Gerard Way?
bro? I
You
was, like, the
look at
biggest-
Tyler and you don't
Look
think
at
he
me.
likes Gerard
You don't
Way.
think this guy was big into MCR way back when? I've been listening to MCR all week
MCR.
crying, you know, so like
even if you take it from another angle, you think a book called Cave Carson has a cybernetic eye is going to catch Tyler Olson's
Right.
radar.
That's why I thought I'm like, oh, he's probably gonna like this.
Marco, how many issues is it?
It's 6, but if you've read it,
I've read it and I did it on Longbox from what I remember too.
damn it.
It sounds, I mean, I can redo it. Unless you want to give it to someone else, but
Sean's not gonna like this art.
no, I think Sean would. You ever read
No.
Power, Sean?
Actually, wait, yeah.
I read a few issues of Powers. Yeah, I enjoyed
It's
it.
the
I thought it was
same
really
artist.
Good. Yeah.
You know
Oh,
what?
he's got-
All right, fine. Because Kale's read this. Sean, you can. I'm gonna give it to you.
All right.
Cave Carson has a cybernetic eye. 2 issues.
Sean's
You know,
an
it's-
MCR guy.
It's funny because I actually deliberately avoided this comic book because I just could not stand the name. I was like, you know what? I want nothing to do with
man.
this shit. So you've now given me a reason to read it. I will do that, and I'll report back next week with my thoughts. Thank you.
All right.
All right,
Pals
cool.
pulls.
Well, next week we got some other things. I wanted to pull Super Freaks #1. I don't know if Delinquent in the chat is still there, but Super Freaks #1 is it looks like it's a giant oversized issue where the Savage Fincast podcast people that do a podcast about Savage Dragon get to write stories in the Savage Dragon universe, actually
No
published by
way.
Image. Yeah.
Nuts.
Which is really, really freaking wild and great for those guys. That's a really cool, like, that's like if we got to write an X-Men book all of a sudden,
God,
you know,
dude, that would
or like
Yeah,
Kale
on
got to write a
Marvel.
Sandman, the Sandman book or something, you know, like it's fucking cool. It's just cool to see. And also it looks like dumb fun, and I'm ready for some dumb fun. I also picked The Closet #1, a Tinian #1 from Image Comics. Look at that.
That's right.
I wonder if Image has been listening to us shitting on them all year. Like, oh, we need to get the big guns again.
Well, it's
Marco,
because we
you
only
also picked
review
this one.
Spawn and Radiant Black.
Yeah.
Like, give
That's
these guys
where all
something
their
else to
sales
talk
are
about.
from.
And Walking Dead. They're making money off Walking Dead reprints.
Yeah. Oh, that Clementine book though looks very good.
What's her face?
Tilly Walden.
Tilly Walden, yeah.
She's
Yeah.
incredible.
Marco, do you have anything to say about this too? I know you pulled it as well, or you will be.
I pulled it because it looks like a horror book, and James Tynion plus horror plus Image. Yep.
This looks like Horror Monsters Inc. I know nothing about this book. I'm just
Yeah,
it's
same.
just conjecture.
I like
I
I
don't
like
think
going in
that's what
blind.
it is.
I don't think so either. No.
I actually read a description a while ago. He talked about it. It's a story that he's had in his back pocket for years and years and years. He's always wanted to tell. And it, you know, based on the name, I'm sure you can imagine that it deals to some degree with his, you know, being, you know, a closeted, or I don't know if that's correct to say, but like being, you know, not being open about his sexuality, his identity as a young person, and the effect that had on him. And I believe that there are horror elements to it. So
All right.
Okay.
Kale, you had Superman, Son of Kal-El, Volume 1, The Truth.
Yeah, I'm excited to jump on this train. Tom Taylor has two characters that he is just absolutely killing in the mainline continuity right now. It's Jonathan Kent and Nightwing, and I am behind on both. Someone said it may have been in our Discord. It may have been on my Twitter. I can't remember which, but someone said that Tom Taylor's Nightwing feels like pre 52 Nightwing stories just being continued. And man, that's my sweet
Oh,
spot. So
yeah.
I'm excited to get into Tom Taylor stuff.
It's just fun, dude. It's real
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I can recommend this. I've been reading this pretty much every time it comes out. The Tom Taylor on this and Nightwing simultaneously feels like he was writing Batman and Superman if they actually went to therapy, which is great.
Yeah.
They talk through their problems. They're just good
Yeah,
people now.
exactly, and they're just good people. Yeah, they had good role models. You know, not that Superman didn't, but you know, I mean, I definitely recommend it. It's super fun. And you also had The Nice House on the Lake, book 9.
Look, I don't need to belabor this. It's a fucking sick ass book. I'm still on the train. You don't know what's happening. That's on you. It's issue 9. Go read issue 1, idiot.
Penultimate issue, right? There's only 10 issues.
No, it's 12.
Is it 12? Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
I was going off the icons on the cover. There's only one more left, but
Real good cover too.
yeah. I
Interesting.
thought that was Tinian on the cover. It had like his beard
yo,
on.
I had that thought too.
I'm like, oh, we have a Hitchcock moment going on. All right.
This is how Tinian spends his weekends, just sitting in blood.
It's
This is
probably
what the
great for your
closet is
skin.
about.
Gotta let your feet soak.
I've been way too much feet talk since that game. I gotta.
Tinian putting his big steppers in that pool of blood.
Strawn J #3 by pick from Marco. Have you read
good
issue 2?
cover?
Peach Momoko. Come on.
Yes, good stuff. I'm actually behind on this book.
Okay.
But it's only been 2 issues. So I
you're
read
behind
the
an issue,
first. Haven't read the second one, but I've liked. I like following this. This Sorcerer Supreme. I think there's a lot to do here. I like that Steve is not necessarily here anymore. It makes for just a different kind of character of book. And
Yeah, Clay is super interesting.
a lot of fun, and the art's been great. That's been out of the park.
You think when they came out with this, they had plans for her outside of comic books? Who would have known?
Huh? What? Who would have thunk?
Sean, X-Men, House, X-Men, hold on, X-Men 92, House of 92?
Yeah. So I mean, gosh, last time, we're not reviewing this ever again. Last time was a disaster.
God, thank you.
But I really loved it. I found out that this was only four issues, and that the fourth issue is a recreation of the Inferno cover with Moira standing and all the other mutants like on the ground, and it's Jubilee in the Moira position. So like I can't wait to see how we get to that. Yeah,
I forgot that was the twist of the first issue, and I'm reliving that again, and now I'm mad about it again.
fair enough.
Sean, you wanted your compressed storytelling. Here you go.
Yo, absolutely, bring it on. This is a very fun twist on one of my favorite stories of the modern era for sure, and I'm really into it. So let's keep it going.
Yeah, and those are the books we're picking for next week.
Yeah. So speaking of next week, if you guys want to join us live for this very show, thank you to Matt for holding it down in the chat. That's twitch.tv/the Comics Pals. Every single Thursday, we go live at 6 p.m. Eastern for this show. If you want to catch the main show live, you can do that by tuning in on Saturdays at 10:15 in the morning. No Tyler this week, so it should be a rocking good time.
Maybe I'll call in.
So if you're a tech person, we're gonna need you to hang on the first 30 minutes, and we'll.
You guys can call me. I'm just gonna be driving, so I'm available. I'm just not available to stream. That's the only thing. So
I might have to phone a friend on that one Saturday morning. Tune in and find out.
First we'll ask the audience.
Yep. Patreon.com/the Comics Pals. Thank you to everybody who is subscribed, everybody who's thinking about subscribing, everybody who listens in general. We appreciate you guys very much. Book club, the next one up is Uncanny Avengers by Rick Remender. So it's like the first 2 volumes or whatever if you want to read along with us. Should be a great one. I hope so. I always love doing Rick Remender books on the book club. They get me going.
Are you like a fan or something?
Maybe. You like Swamp Thing, right?
Sometimes.
I gotta say, I'm more of a fan of the Acuna art. That's gonna be coming my way soon.
Come on, no.
This is gonna be a good one, like I said.
Yeah, I'm
absolutely.
Sick. I'm moving. I've got COVID.
Give me 3
I'm
more.
working.
Isn't there like a singing show you got to go watch or something?
You're breaking up. I'm not gonna.
He's got Bane-itis.
Wow. All right. We'll see you guys on Saturday. Until next time, take care, guys.
See you next week.
Oh, I'm in control of the stream. Okay. Bye, guys.